To sew this block together, I'm going to put it in position here, right next to my machine. Make sure your pinwheel is turning. It should all turn to the right. I'm going to take this piece and turn it onto this one, and this piece and turn it onto that one so that I'm ready to sew them. When I sew the top one, I want to sew from the center out so I can make sure the centers match. So I just flip it over this way, get the top and the right edge even, hold on to my threads. Once I get started with my needle down, then I can reposition, get my material even, get my tails even, and kind of pinch them just a hair. But just a smidgen of pressure to make sure they're going to come out even. And hold it till it finishes. Now this one is going to go under there just like it is, because I'm starting at the center. You want to start at the squared up center and work out. Make sure your right edges stay even. Take your fingernails and just kind of scoot that over. Cut your threads. I would go to the ironing board now and lay this on the ironing board with a solid piece on top, set it, iron it this way. Do the same thing with this one. Solid piece on top, set it, open it up, and iron it. And then we'll do the last seam. I've ironed the seams flat, and they're going toward the solid piece. I'm going to put them like this, turn them onto each other, and your seams should be going in opposite directions so that you can just snug them together. We're going to start out here at the points, get them even, start them under the machine, keep your edges on the right even. Now get your seams and snug them up. Put just a little tension on it if you need to. You want them nice and snug. Now my trick when I'm going under this last little bit is to use a seam ripper or a stiletto to hold them tight. I don't have it with me right now, but it saves your fingers. Make sure the seam on the bottom is going in the right direction. And we have finished one complete block. Isn't that nice? This is not a hard block. It looks pieced and hard, but it's not. So now I will set this seam, open it up, and iron it flat. If you want to open this seam up, you can, but I just leave it going in one direction. Now I'll get all the rest of the blocks done. I have all my blocks together and pressed open, and I've arranged them on the wall in dark center, light center, dark center, light center. I've gotten them in a pattern that I like, and so I'm going to keep them in this way. I'm going to measure my blocks and get an average width for them, and then choose my stashing fabric to go in between these blocks, and I will cut strips that long to go between each vertical row. I'll connect the vertical rows, and then we'll do the stashing in between and connect the quilt center. I've decided on this beige color for my stashing. I need 49 strips that are 11 1/4 inches wide. I can get just under 4 pieces per strip, so I'm going to cut enough strips to get all of those pieces out. I have squared up my fabric like we talked about a while ago, and I want to make my stashing a finished 2 1/2, so I will cut 3-inch strips. And if I turn this around, I can just start cutting and get quite a few strips without moving. Next, we'll go all the way around all the sides of each of our blocks. And we're going to make a little cornerstone in the sashing out of blue to break this up and give it some movement. The more action you can get going in your quilt, the better it looks. I'll finish cutting these strips and then we'll get our cornerstones cut. I've cut all 12 of my strips and I have stacked them, lining them up with the lines of the cutting mat. That's the only time you use the lines of the mat. And now I can take this long ruler, line it up with the lines on the mat, and cut all my selvages off at once. I'm going to take these strips and sew them end to end and then cut off what I need each time, and that way I will have one big continuous strip to work from. I'll cut the cornerstones next. For the cornerstones in my sashing, I have picked out one of the blue materials. I will cut 3 strips, the same width as my sashing, which is 3 inches, and then I will cut 3-inch squares from it. I will need 30 of them for the front of this quilt and have those ready to go in the quilt too. I have all of my blocks and my lattice pieces and my cornerstones in place on the wall. Now all I have to do is sew them together in vertical rows. I'll sew this piece to this, this piece to this, this piece to this, and go on down doing that. And then I will sew the bigger sections together until I have this one strip together. I will do that for each of the long strips. Then I will sew all of the pieces of this thin lattice work together. Same thing with this, this, this. Then I will start sewing the lattice work to the block section, matching your seam lines where your blocks meet on your lattice work. And when we get it all done, it will be squared up and perfect. So that is our next step. We'll get busy getting the center of the quilt together.